Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our series Gardens of the Righteous. I'm your host, Talat Sultan, and joining us is Imam Abid Khan. And in this series, we're going to be discussing a selection of hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, covering spiritual stations, virtues, character, and iman. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Shaykh, can we speak about the authenticity of hadith? Because it's always mentioned that this is the first hadith in books of hadith, and it's often mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In terms of it being mentioned at the very forefront of hadith compilations such as Sahih Bukhari and the like, it's due to, well, no doubt its authenticity, but also its content. So it being something so central to you embarking on that journey, that's why it's kind of mentioned at the very forefront. Like they'd often say, "Man arada an yusannifa kitaban falyabda bihadith al-a'mal bin-niyyat." So Abdurrahman bin Mahdi, he died 198 Hijriya, one of the great companion followers, but a companion of Sufyan al-Thawri, who we mentioned in the previous segment. He said, "Whoever intends to write a book then of hadith compilation, then let them start with this hadith, because of its centrality in terms of beginning your thought process and your intentions." And even on the point of Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, so perhaps it's useful to set something off the scene. Imam al-Nawawi, who penned this book here, Riyadh al-Salihin, he dies 676 Hijriya, so in the 7th century of Islam, in the Islamic calendar. Bukhari, who has this hadith, compiled as the first hadith of the book, Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, he died 216 Hijriya, okay, so quite, and he himself was born, in the, you could say, the first century, in the 100s of Islam. So, given that being the case, and I should add all the 6 books, all the 6 canonical books of hadith: Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, or An-Nasa'i, depending how you pronounce it, and Ibn Majah, all have this hadith collected therein. But Bukhari puts this at the very beginning, and actually there's something fascinating about its inclusion. So he has it included around 7 times with different chapter headings, and the chapter headings of Bukhari actually reflect the understandings, the layers of understanding you can derive from it. This is known as the tabwibat, or the tarajim of the hadith, the chapter headings. And they, for example, one of the chapter headings will be Tarkul Hiyal, the fact that it's not permissible to use illicit stratagems to get round something which is proper guidance, to try and wing it the wrong way around, and almost to forget you're dealing with God, dealing with Allah. So you need to be honest, sincere, and truthful, direct in your dealings, and that's what it brings out from within you, being aware of that. Another one will be to do with immigration and the like, another chapter heading. And another one will be about, here he has it at the very beginning, the chapter of Kitab Bad al-Wahi, the commencement of revelation. Now here's a question, let me ask you the question. Why do you think, what relationship does this hadith of intentions have with commencement of revelation?
Well, subhanAllah, I mean, having pure intention and ikhlas on the commencement of revelation would be quite important. And
so, yeah, it's very interesting, because if you look in Bukhari, we're not dealing with Bukhari per se, because we're dealing with this book, Riyadh al-Salihin, but given the fact that the author here, he derives the hadith from the older canonical books such as Bukhari,
yes,
it's really interesting to consider where this fits in. His second and third, fourth hadith is all about revelation itself. So, for example, when the Prophet Muhammad was in the cave of Hira, and then Archangel Gabriel comes with the revelation saying, "Iqra," recite, read, and him going to his wife Khadija, running to her, kind of getting that comfort. All of that's in this chapter.
Okay.
And then, but before that, you have this hadith. Now, they discuss, the commentators, the shurrah discuss, where is this coming from? How does it fit in here? Some said it was him carrying on that scholastic tradition of placing this hadith at the beginning of the book, like Abdurrahman bin Mahdi suggested. Others, however, they posited another possibility. And they said that if Imam Bukhari's message is this whole book is about another form of revelation other than the Quran itself, alongside the Quran, and that's the prophetic example. That his paradigm of being, behavior and teaching, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And given this is revelation, alongside, of course, the Quran itself, which is the highest, if you like, source of guidance for human beings, religiously speaking. So then he's saying, what makes this significant for you and keeps revelation as, if you like, revelation for you personally, as in a source for you to make it ibadah, is your intent, your intention. Because very quickly, as you engage with revelation, there is an occupational hazard. What's the hazard when you're dealing with, revelation? One of the biggest ones, is it becomes, instead of ibadah, it becomes an adah. It becomes an adat. It becomes a habit, something you're doing habitually, autopilot. It becomes part of your culture. We all do this. My aunt does this, my uncle does this, my kids, my dad and mum does this, so I do it. But is that really godly? Right? Is that actually orientated towards Allah? So Imam Bukhari is saying, this whole book, you're going to be learning about revelation, what the Prophet ﷺ received of revelation, and his teachings, which emanated from that. But be mindful, O reader, O believer, and O Muslim, that as you engage with revelation, which I'm now laying bare before you, the most authentic narrations, even then, the other occupational hazard is your intent really for God, for Allah.
And that's one of the things when we read Quran, and every chapter of the Quran starts with the heading, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And it's for us to refocus and recalibrate that we're doing this for the sake of Allah, in the name of Allah.
It grounds you. It re-anchors you in your true place of departure and your direction. It's inna lillah, from Allah you came, and unto Him we're all returning. So therefore, make your primary intention in life, your focus from where you're coming and to where you're going. And to answer your question, sorry, this is something of a digression from the original question you posed, which is, how do we get a sense of authenticity? So this is more kind of to do with what's known as ilm al-hadith or ulum al-hadith, the sciences of hadith, which is definitely relevant to the book. The scholars, they had a certain number of, if you like, broad considerations, you call them conditions if you like, shurut of sihha, of authenticity. 5 specifically. One is they look at the isnad. All of them are pertaining to the isnad, primarily.
The chain of
narration. And these are the narrators, the authorities, the experts who specialize and dedicated in collecting the historical reports and the prophetic narrations and traditions, and they're being peer reviewed by other experts, right? To see how proficient are they, how diligent are they, how professional are they, if you like, in conveying, relaying, collecting and passing on the reports which they have dedicated their lives to collecting. And like any kind of profession, the peer review is not always going to be positive. You will have critique happening and counter critiques and the like. But looking at the chain of narrations or narrators, they're looking first of all, ittisal al-sanad, first and foremost. Is it connected without any breaks in it? Are there any missing links in it? Right? People who's like an X or a question mark. Who is this guy?
Did these people really meet?
Did they all meet?
Was it at the same time? Yeah.
Were they contemporaries? Did they meet? What sort of meeting was that? Would it have been a momentary, fleeting kind of meeting? Or was this what we'd call mulazama? The guys were with each other for 10 years.
Okay.
Coming regularly, etc. So that's ittisal al-sanad. Secondly, great, we know they all met, or these people met, but what's the quality that they're bringing to their profession? Can I say to their career even? Religious career, Islamically, akhirah focus, and that relates to both their precision and their integrity, right? So were they known, what was their kind of, if you like, what do they call it in standard industries, when you have a reference, a career reference,
Okay.
So, and not with the way that we might see, I'm not casting any aspersions, but the sense where you might have kickbacks and you have to give a good reference, because it's about prophetic narrations.
This is our faith. It's something really serious. And it's critical.
So there's their character reference and being scrutinized in that sense, but also their precision and the if you like, they're being on point in terms of the narrations.
So Imam Bukhari he had a really high threshold of standards, ensuring that the reporters of hadith in the isnad were sincere, had ikhlas, and he went beyond the other compilers of hadith.
Yeah, what he's looking at alongside others is he's trying to get the creme de la creme. So who were the people who were the all-stars in terms of their kind of precision and their probity and their integrity, if you like. So ultimately, you know, you'll have guys like in any field, you'll have even contemporary, let's say in medicine or the like, you'll have guys who are in it, in the field, but then you have people who really risen to the top. The Nobel, you know, medical kind of the scientists and the like. But here he's taking from Imam Malik, he's taking from so-and-so, he's taking from people who are like known as Amir al-Mu'mineen fil Hadith, the kind of the leader, you know, amongst all his peers, he was recognized being head and shoulders above everyone else. But then there's other conditions. You then cross-check it against other reports, corroborating reports. Hang on, let's piece together all the different narrations. How does narration A compare to B, to C, to D? And that way you're kind of cross-mapping. Is it adding up or is it in conflict with one another? And then and that's called, if you like, shudud, if it's shadh, or if there's any other hidden kind of defect. So they're looking at all of these things, and from that they're concluding it's authentic or not.
Subhanallah, Jazakallah khair. We've run out of time again, and amazing. I've always thought, how is it decided that this is an authentic hadith and this isn't, and their gradings? But viewers, we've run out of time again. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. Come again next week, inshallah. Join us for the series. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.